The law of letting go. The less you do, the more you achieve. What if I told you that the secret to achieving everything you've ever wanted lies not in doing more, but in doing dramatically less? What if the greatest masters throughout history, from ancient Chinese sages to biblical prophets, all discover the same counterintuitive truth that modern quantum physics is now beginning to validate? Welcome back to the channel, seekers of ancient wisdom and modern truth. Today we're diving deep into one of the most profound yet misunderstood principles in all of human spirituality, the law of letting go. This isn't just another self-help concept. This is a universal principle that has been hidden in plain sight within our most sacred texts for millennia, and it's about to completely transform how you approach success, relationships, and life itself. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the Tao Te Ching calls it Wu Wei, why Jesus spoke of it as seek first the kingdom, and why modern neuroscience is proving that our ancestors knew something about the nature of reality that we're only now rediscovering. More importantly, you'll walk away with 3 practical techniques that you can implement immediately to harness this law in your own life. But first, let me share a story that will blow your mind. Section 1. The Ancient Foundation, Wu Wei and the Power of Non-Action. Picture this. It's 6th century BC China, and a wise old sage named Lao Tzu is watching a master archer. The archer draws his bow, aims, and doesn't shoot. He holds a position for what seems like an eternity, then slowly releases attention and lowers his weapon. A student asks, "Master, why didn't you shoot?" The archer replies, "The target wasn't ready to receive the arrow." This is Wu Wei, the ancient Chinese principle of effortless action, or what we might call intelligent non-doing. It's not about being lazy or passive. It's about understanding the rhythm of the universe and moving in harmony with it rather than against it. The Tao Te Ching, one of our most profound esoteric teachings, puts it beautifully. The sage does not attempt to do anything and therefore never fails. He does not grasp at anything and therefore never loses anything. This isn't mystical mumbo-jumbo. This is describing a fundamental law of how energy moves through the cosmos. But here's where it gets really interesting. Modern psychology has discovered what they call the paradox of control. The more desperately we try to control an outcome, the more likely we are to sabotage it. Athletes know this as choking under pressure. Business people experience it as analysis paralysis. Ancient wisdom traditions knew it as the ego's interference with natural flow. Think about water, one of nature's most powerful forces. Does water struggle to carve the Grand Canyon? Does it force its way through rock? No. It simply follows the path of least resistance, persistently and patiently, until even mountains yield to its gentle but unwavering presence. This is the power of Wu Wei in action. The Chinese character for Wu Wei literally means non-action, but more accurate translation might be effortless action, or acting in accordance with natural flow. It's the difference between swimming against a powerful current and learning to navigate with it. One exhausts you. The other carries you to your destination with grace and ease. Section 2. Biblical Mysteries. The Kingdom Within and the Power of Surrender. Now, you might think this is purely Eastern philosophy, but the Bible is absolutely saturated with references to this same principle. Jesus himself was perhaps history's greatest teacher of the law of letting go, though most of us have been taught to interpret his words through the lens of struggle and effort rather than surrender and flow. Consider this revolutionary statement from the Gospel of Matthew. "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Most people focus on the seeking part, but Jesus is actually describing a profound letting go. The kingdom of God he's referring to isn't some distant heaven. It's the state of consciousness where you stop trying to manipulate outcomes and instead align with divine will. In the original Aramaic, the word Jesus used for seek is biu, which doesn't mean to chase after or pursue aggressively. It means to request or ask, with the implication of trust and receptivity. He's saying, ask for alignment with the highest good, then let go of attachment to specific outcomes. When you do this, everything you truly need flows to you naturally. But perhaps the most explicit teaching comes from the Gospel of John. Apart from me, you can do nothing. This isn't about religious dependence. It's about recognizing that our individual ego will is actually the primary obstacle to achieving our deepest desires. When Jesus says, apart from me, he's referring to that state of consciousness where we're aligned with universal intelligence rather than fighting it with our limited human understanding. The mystical tradition of Kabbalah takes this even deeper. In Kabbalistic teaching, there's a concept called Bittul Hayesh, the nullification of the ego self. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat or losing your personality. It means recognizing that your individual will, when aligned with divine will, becomes infinitely more powerful than when it operates in isolation. Here's a modern parallel that might shock you. In 2024, researchers at MIT discovered that artificial intelligence systems perform better when they incorporate what they call strategic uncertainty. Essentially, algorithms that know when not to make decisions and instead wait for more information to emerge. The most advanced AI systems are literally programmed with a form of digital wu-wei. Section 3. The neuroscience of surrender. Why less doing creates more results. This brings us to one of the most fascinating developments in modern science. Neuroscientists have discovered something they call the default mode network, a network of brain regions that becomes active when we're not actively focused on specific tasks. Here's the mind-blowing part. This network, which is most active during rest and meditation, is responsible for our most creative insights, problem-solving breakthroughs, and what we commonly call intuition. Dr. Marcus Raichle, who discovered the default mode network, found that the brain uses about 20% of the body's energy even when we think we're doing nothing. But it's not actually doing nothing. It's processing information, making connections, and solving problems at a level far more sophisticated than our conscious minds can achieve. This is a neurological basis for why the ancient masters insisted on the power of stillness. When the Bhagavad Gita speaks of action and inaction, and inaction and action, it's describing this exact phenomenon. Krishna is teaching Arjuna that the highest form of action comes from a place of inner stillness, where universal intelligence can work through you rather than being blocked by ego-driven effort. The Gita puts it this way: you have a right to perform your prescribed action, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. This isn't about becoming passive. It's about understanding the difference between inspired action and ego-driven struggle. But here's where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge technology. In 2025, the most successful tech entrepreneurs are those who have learned to alternate between periods of intense focus and deliberate non-doing. Companies like Google and Apple have built contemplation rooms into their headquarters, recognizing that breakthrough innovations come not from grinding harder, but from creating space for insights to emerge. The late Steve Jobs was famous for his walking meetings and meditation practice. He once said, "If you sit and observe, you will see how restless your mind is. If you try to calm it, it only makes it worse, but over time it does calm, and when it does, there's room to hear more subtle things. That's when your intuition starts to blossom." Section 4. The Paradox of Effort. Gnostic Insights in Quantum Realities. The Gnostic Gospels, those early Christian texts that were hidden for centuries, contain some of the most direct teachings on this principle. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says something that sounds almost like a riddle. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. This isn't about effort or struggle. It's about allowing what's already perfect within you to express itself naturally. The Gnostics understood that the divine spark within each person doesn't need to be created or earned. It simply needs to be uncovered by removing the layers of ego-driven effort that obscure it. The word gnosis itself means direct knowing, not knowledge acquired through struggle and study, but truth that reveals itself when we become still enough to perceive it. This is why Gnostic practices focus heavily on contemplation, prayer, and what they call the silence of the mind. Now, here's where things get really wild. Quantum physics has discovered something called the observer effect. the phenomenon where the act of observation changes the behavior of subatomic particles. But recent experiments have shown that it's not just observation that matters. It's the intention behind the observation. Dr. Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has conducted thousands of experiments showing that when people set an intention and then let go of attachment to the outcome, they can actually influence random number generators, the decay of radioactive materials, and even the behavior of living cells. The key factor? The letting go part. When participants tried too hard or became overly attached to results, the effect disappeared. This suggests that consciousness itself operates according to the law of letting go. The universe appears to be structured in such a way that our deepest desires manifest most easily when we hold them lightly, with trust rather than desperation, with certainty rather than grasping. Think about the most profound moments in your own life. Were they the result of forcing and striving? Or did they emerge when you finally relaxed and allowed something greater than your individual will to work through you? Section 5. Practical Applications. 3 techniques for harnessing the law. So, how do we actually apply this ancient wisdom in our modern lives? Here are 3 powerful techniques that bridge the gap between esoteric teachings and practical results. Technique 1. The sacred pauses comes directly from Buddhist mindfulness practice and Kabbalistic meditation. When you find yourself pushing hard toward a goal or feeling frustrated with lack of progress, stop. Take 3 conscious breaths. Ask yourself, am I acting from inspiration or desperation? Am I moving with the flow or against it? Then wait for clarity before taking your next step. Some of history's greatest achievements happen because someone was wise enough to pause at the right moment. Technique 2. Intention setting and energetic surrender. This technique combines elements from Christian contemplative prayer, Hindu dharana concentration, and modern manifestation practices. Write down your goal or desire with crystal clarity. Then, instead of creating a detailed plan of attack, ask this question: what would it look like for this to unfold in the highest and best way for all concerned? Hold that intention in your mind. Then literally imagine handing it over to universal intelligence. Take inspired action when it feels natural, but release attachment to controlling the how and when. Technique 3. The water method, named after Lao Tzu's favorite metaphor. This technique is about finding the path of least resistance in any situation. When facing obstacles, instead of trying to break through them, ask, how would water handle this? Water doesn't fight the rock. It finds or creates a way around, over, under, or through. In practical terms, this might mean changing your approach, timing, or even your definition of success. The goal remains the same, but the path becomes fluid. As we navigate 2025, with its unique challenges of AI integration, global uncertainty, and rapid technological change, the law of letting go becomes more relevant than ever. The pace of change is accelerated to the point where traditional goal setting and strategic planning often become obsolete before they can be implemented. The most successful individuals and organizations today are those who have learned to hold their vision clearly while remaining flexible in their methods. They understand that in a world of exponential change, adaptability and flow are more valuable than rigid planning and force. Consider the current state of global finance, where algorithmic trading has made markets incredibly volatile and unpredictable. The most successful traders today aren't those who try to control the market, but those who read its rhythm and move with its natural cycles. They've learned to profit from uncertainty rather than fighting it. Similarly, in relationships, the old paradigm of trying to change or control others is giving way to a new understanding of how healthy connections actually work. The strongest relationships are those where both partners have learned the art of loving without grasping, supporting without controlling, and growing together without losing their individual essence. Before we conclude, I want to leave you with 2 questions that have the power to transform your entire approach to life. First, what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Not because success was guaranteed, but because you understood that the attempt itself, when made from a place of alignment and surrender, is always perfect regardless of the external outcome. Second, what are you currently struggling to achieve that might actually come to you more easily if you stopped pushing so hard and started flowing more intelligently? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Share a time when letting go led to better results than forcing ever could have. The law of letting go isn't about becoming passive or giving up on your dreams. It's about discovering the difference between ego-driven effort and soul-aligned action. It's about understanding that you are both the creator of your reality and a co-creative partner with universal intelligence. The ancient masters knew something that our achievement-obsessed culture has forgotten. The universe is not something to be conquered, but something to be danced with. Success is not about forcing outcomes, but about becoming so aligned with your highest truth that right action flows through you effortlessly. As the Tao Te Ching reminds us, the sage stays behind, thus he is ahead. He is detached, thus at one with all. Through selfless action, he attains fulfillment. Your assignment for this week is simple. Choose one area of your life where you've been pushing hard with minimal results. Apply one of the 3 techniques we discussed. Notice what happens when you shift from forcing to flowing. If this video opened your mind to new possibilities, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because next week we're diving even deeper into another hidden universal principle that's been coded into our most sacred texts, the law of divine timing, and why everything happens exactly when it's supposed to, even when it doesn't seem like it. Also, check out the description below for links to the specific texts and studies we referenced today. Your journey into ancient wisdom and modern application is just beginning. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all, and in that sacred space of non-doing, miracles have room to unfold. Peace, wisdom, and effortless achievement to you all.